Hi everyone, welcome to our weekly Jupyter Frontends and Jupyter Server and Kernels call. Today is October Wednesday 22nd, and we're recording this for our YouTube channel under the Project Jupyter YouTube. And yeah, we have some items on the agenda. I think we can get started. I think first up is Mike.
Okay, so a couple of releases. JupyterLab server that was mostly small bug fixes, but one enhancement, which is exposing a threadlet with the information that Jupyter server has, or exposing the information from a threadlet onto the page config about which message types to ignore when calculating the activity status, which we'll reuse for ignoring some messages for calculation of the busy idle indicator state. This might not be the final solution, but that's something which will hopefully fix the issue for now and reduce confusions. JupyterLab 4.4.10 only bug fixes, and 4.5.0 beta 1. I think this might be last or second to last beta before we would move to the release candidate phase. If we have time after this meeting, maybe we could go through the list of PRs tags for 4.5 to make sure that we didn't miss anything. Otherwise, we have some work to catch up on regarding the user-facing changelog and spreading the word about the beta. I know that it has been tried in a couple of places, and actually downstream testing in Jupyter Lite allowed us to catch a regression early, thanks to the Firefox tests which run there. Now, because now we also run the Firefox tests, but yeah, it would be still good to spread the news further so that users test this more too. That's it from me for now.
Where do we think we'll be at JupyterCon?
Well, we are stable.
So
There is no release blockers as of now. So the decision whether the next one will be another beta or RC is kind of moot. We could probably do an RC, but because there is a couple of this last minute pull requests which technically are enhancements, I would lean to cutting a new beta tomorrow once I merit those, and an RC early next week.
and then if everything goes well, then we'll have the release before JupyterCon.
Yeah, and if there are release blockers, it might happen during the JupyterCon.
Yeah, makes sense.
Thanks, Mike. And yeah, I think up next is Jeremy.
Yeah. So just a quick note about the new Notebook 7.5 beta release, which is mostly just based on the lab beta release. But what I wanted to mention also based on what we talked about last week is that I tried using the NPM trusted publishers. So last week we were talking about that PR in the Maintainer Tools repo that updates to Node 24. So we tried that, but unfortunately, we need a change in the releaser to properly handle one of the changes that got added in NPM 11, which is actually marked as a breaking change. Shouldn't be too difficult to implement, but the problem right now is that the releaser CI is broken. So it's more precisely it's timing out. Try to debug it a little bit, but no success so far. So if someone feels like spending time on CI, that would be great. Otherwise, I will take a look at later. But in the meantime, it's still possible to use the NPM trusted publishers by setting the Node.js version on the releaser workflow itself. And that means I can be just scope to the final release step. And that's what we did for Notebook. It went through. So for Notebook, it was, I think, about 12 packages maybe to set up. So that was not that many. And I'm going to try the next pre-release for Light as well, trying to use the same trusted publishers. But then, yeah, at some point, so takeaway from this is we need to do two things mostly. Fix the releaser repo, fix the handling of npm 11, and then configure the 105 packages for the JupyterLab on npm. Yeah, and maybe we should also document like how to what to do when we add new packages, because I think this will not work out of the box if we, let's say, add a new package to JupyterLab. The package won't exist on npm, so we won't be able to configure the publisher there. So I think we'll have to manually publish the npm package first with a placeholder version so that we can then configure the trusted publisher. Yeah. Maybe it would be worth documenting that somewhere, or maybe update the docs if they already exist. Yeah. Getting there. That's all for me.
And I think, thanks, Jeremy. I think that is there's one more note I think that someone added about daylight savings time ending in Europe. It ends October 26th, but in the US it ends November 2nd. So the note here is the US meetings will be 1 hour earlier if they are, or meetings anchored in the US will be an hour earlier for Europe, and then meetings anchored in Europe will be an hour later in the US next week. And thanks for adding that there. I think that brings us to the end of the agenda, unless anyone has anything else to add on here. Okay. So I think maybe we can end the recording and continue with some with looking at PRs, as Mike mentioned. Thanks everyone for joining us. And please stick around for the off the record section.